My former coworkers froze when they saw me walk into the conference room. Not as their crybaby colleague. Not as the girl they used to mock. But as their new department head. The same women who laughed while I sobbed at my desk, who whispered behind my back, who made me feel worthless every single day, now stand up when I enter the room. And honestly, watching them try to smile at me like we were old friends, like they didn't destroy me piece by piece for 2 years, was the most satisfying moment of my entire life. Because they thought I'd stay broken forever. But they didn't know what pain can build. My name is Ashley. I'm 31 years old now, but this story starts when I was 24. Fresh out of a small state college in Ohio with a degree in communications and a mountain of student debt. I'd applied to dozens of companies and finally got hired as a junior marketing coordinator at a mid-sized tech firm in Chicago. It wasn't my dream job, but it was a start. A chance to prove myself. A chance to build a career. I moved into a tiny studio apartment with furniture from Goodwill and a mattress on the floor. My mom helped me pack. She hugged me at the door and said, "Make us proud, baby." And I promised her I would. I really thought this was my big break. I had no idea what I was walking into. My first day at Sterling & Company felt surreal. The office was modern, sleek, full of people who looked like they belonged in a magazine. Everyone dressed better than me, talked faster than me, seemed to know things I didn't. I was assigned to the marketing team, a group of 6 people led by a woman named Vanessa. She was polished, confident, the kind of person who commanded a room without raising her voice. The rest of the team seemed close. They had inside jokes, lunch plans, a group chat I wasn't invited to. But I told myself it was fine. I was new. I just needed time to fit in. So I worked hard. I stayed late. I volunteered for extra projects. I brought coffee for everyone on Fridays. I smiled even when no one smiled back. But no matter what I did, I couldn't break into their circle. And slowly I started to realize they didn't want me there. It started with small things. Whispers that stopped when I walked into the room. Glances exchanged when I spoke in meetings. Vanessa would ask me to present an idea, and before I could finish, someone else would interrupt and talk over me. And she'd let them. Once, I spent an entire weekend working on a campaign concept. I was so proud of it. I presented it Monday morning, and the room went silent. Vanessa looked at her phone. Someone yawned. Then she said, "Thanks, Ashley. We'll consider it," and moved on. 10 minutes later, Lauren, one of the senior coordinators, suggested almost the exact same idea. And suddenly, everyone was excited. Vanessa loved it. They spent 20 minutes building on it, refining it, crediting Lauren for her creativity. I sat there staring at my notes, my hands shaking under the table, wondering if I'd imagined the whole thing. But I hadn't. They just didn't respect me. And it only got worse from there. They started making fun of me. Quietly at first. Then louder. My clothes were wrong. Too cheap. Too outdated. My makeup was too plain. My voice was too soft. I overheard Lauren tell someone I only got hired because the company needed to fill a diversity quota. I wasn't even sure what she meant by that, but the way she said it made me feel like I didn't deserve to be there. Another coworker, Jessica, would mimic my Midwestern accent when I left the room. I heard her once through the wall. The whole team laughed. I started eating lunch alone at my desk. I stopped contributing in meetings. I tried to make myself invisible, hoping that if I stayed quiet, they'd leave me alone. But they didn't. Because invisible people make perfect targets. Then came the project from hell. Vanessa assigned our team a major client presentation. It was high stakes, a potential 6-figure contract. She divided the work among all of us, but somehow I ended up with the bulk of the research, data entry, and slide formatting. I worked 14-hour days. I skipped meals. I barely slept. The rest of the team would leave at 5, laughing as they headed out for happy hour, while I stayed behind staring at spreadsheets until my eyes burned. The morning of the presentation, I was exhausted but relieved. We'd done it. The deck looked incredible. But when Vanessa opened the file in front of the client, half the slides were missing. My stomach dropped. She looked at me, her face tight with anger, and said, "Ashley, didn't you finalize this?" I stammered, "I did. I sent you the final version last night." She clicked through her emails. Nothing. I checked mine. It was there. Sent at 11:47 p.m. But somehow she'd opened an old draft. The client looked uncomfortable. Vanessa apologized profusely, rescheduled the meeting, and closed her laptop. And then she turned to me in front of everyone and said, "This is unacceptable. You need to be more detail-oriented." I tried to explain. I showed her the timestamp. But she cut me off. "I don't want excuses, Ashley. I want results." The room was silent. And then I heard it. A giggle. Soft at first. Then louder. Lauren was laughing. Jessica joined in. Even Vanessa smirked. And I just stood there, my throat closing, my eyes stinging, feeling smaller than I'd ever felt in my life. I made it back to my desk, sat down, and the tears came. I couldn't stop them. I tried. I pressed my palms against my eyes, bit my lip, took deep breaths, but it didn't matter. I was crying at my desk in the middle of the office, and everyone could see. And instead of anyone checking if I was okay, I heard whispers. Snickers. Someone took out their phone. I saw the flash. They were recording me. Lauren leaned over to Jessica and whispered something, and they both started laughing. I grabbed my bag, ran to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, and sobbed until I couldn't breathe. I called my mom. She answered on the first ring. Baby, what's wrong? I could barely get the words out. I can't do this anymore, Mom. I can't. They hate me. I don't know what I did wrong, but they hate me. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Come home, Ashley. You don't have to stay there. And for a second, I almost did. I almost walked out of that bathroom, got in my car, and drove back to Ohio. But then I thought about something my dad used to say before he passed. Pain either buries you or builds you. You get to choose. And I realized I had a choice. I could let them break me. Or I could break free and become someone they could never touch. So I wiped my face, fixed my makeup, and walked back to my desk. And I made myself a promise. I will never let anyone make me feel this small again. I will rise so high they'll have to look up just to see me. No matter what it takes. That night, I started planning my escape. Not by quitting. By evolving. I enrolled in online courses. Leadership training. Project management certifications. Advanced data analytics. I studied every night after work, even when I was exhausted. I stopped caring about fitting in with the team. I stopped bringing them coffee. I stopped trying to make them like me. I focused on my work. Only my work. And slowly, people outside my department started to notice. A senior VP named Robert saw one of my reports and emailed me directly. This is excellent work, Ashley. Let's set up a meeting. We met. He asked about my career goals. I told him the truth. I wanted to lead. I wanted to build teams that valued people. I wanted to create the kind of workplace I'd never had. He listened. Really listened. And 2 weeks later, he offered me a spot in the company's leadership development program. It was competitive. Intense. Most people in the program had MBAs from top schools. But I worked harder than all of them. I showed up early. I stayed late. I asked questions. I learned everything I could. And 6 months later, I was promoted to project lead in a different department. For the next 3 years, I climbed. Fast. I led campaigns that brought in millions. I managed teams twice the size of Vanessa's. I won awards. Got bonuses. Built a reputation as someone who got results and treated people with respect. I became the leader I wished I'd had. My new team loved working with me. They felt seen, valued, supported. And word spread. Upper management took notice. When the company announced they were restructuring and creating a new position, Director of Marketing Operations, I applied. I didn't tell anyone. I just quietly put together the strongest application I'd ever written. 3 weeks later, I got the call. I'd gotten the job. And my new department? The one I'd be leading? It was the same team that had destroyed me. Vanessa's team. I'd be their boss. My first day as director, I walked into that conference room, the same one where I'd been humiliated, and every single face went pale. Vanessa's smile faltered. Lauren's eyes went wide. Jessica looked like she'd seen a ghost. I stood at the head of the table, set down my portfolio, and said, Good morning, everyone. I'm Ashley Carter, your new Director of Marketing Operations. Starting today, you all report directly to me. The room was dead silent. Someone coughed. Vanessa tried to recover, plastering on a fake smile. Ashley. Wow, congratulations. We're so excited to work with you. I looked her in the eye and said, Are you? She blinked. I continued. Because the last time we worked together, I wasn't treated with much excitement. Or respect. Or basic human decency. Her smile disappeared. I let the silence hang there for a moment. Then I said, But that was the past. Moving forward, this team will operate with professionalism, accountability, and respect. No exceptions. If anyone has a problem with that, my door is open. Otherwise, let's get to work. Over the next few months, I restructured everything. I implemented performance reviews, accountability systems, clear communication protocols. And guess what? The team that used to run on gossip and favoritism started falling apart. Lauren missed deadlines constantly. Jessica's work was sloppy. Vanessa, who'd always coasted on charm, couldn't deliver when it mattered. One by one, I had difficult conversations. I gave warnings. Chances to improve. Some of them did. Others didn't. Lauren was let go after her third missed deadline. Jessica was reassigned to a different department. And Vanessa? She resigned. She couldn't handle reporting to someone she used to mock. On her last day, she stopped by my office. She didn't say much. Just, "I'm sorry. For everything." I looked at her for a long moment. Then I said, "I appreciate that. I hope your next team treats you better than you treated me." She nodded, tears in her eyes, and walked out. It's been a year since I took over that department. The team looks completely different now. We've hired people who actually care, who collaborate, who lift each other up. And our results? We're the top-performing department in the company. Last month, I got promoted again. VP of Marketing. At 31 years old. My mom flew out for my celebration dinner. She held my hand across the table and said, "I knew you'd make us proud." I thought about that girl who cried at her desk. The one who almost gave up. The one they called weak. And I realized she wasn't weak at all. She was just learning how to be strong. To anyone who's ever been laughed at, belittled, or made to feel like you don't belong, I need you to hear this. You are not too sensitive. You are not too emotional. You are not the problem. They are. And the pain they caused you? It doesn't have to destroy you. It can become the foundation you build your empire on. Those people who mocked me thought my tears were a sign of weakness. But those tears watered the ground I grew on. And now I stand taller than they ever will. So let them laugh. Let them whisper. Let them underestimate you. Because one day you'll walk back into that room. Not as the person they broke, but as the person they could never become. And trust me, watching them realize that is the sweetest victory of all.